What's up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of New Surge Live. For those who are on the YouTube channel, thank you for watching. You're going to get this probably about 4 to 5 days early. Um, that's because I didn't want to wait to put the interview out there really in video form. I wanted to really, with Phil Stamper, I wanted to put him out there straight away just because it's a damn good interview. You guys are going to have a total fun listening to it. I'm eating a salad today. Everybody's trying to eat healthy. I'm trying to eat healthy. A lot of people are, saying it's summertime. It's like 100 degrees outside. I really didn't want nothing hot, so I chose to make me a salad. So I'm trying to get the lettuce. Oh man, I don't know. Anyway, lettuce is not really my thing. A lot of people love lettuce. I love vegetables, period. But oh well, whatever. That's not what we're here to talk about here today. A couple things did in the news this week. Um, or in the last couple of weeks, really stood out to me. One of which is Donald Trump announced WWE Hall of Famer Donald Trump, because it does relate to what we do here on New Surge Live as far as wrestling goes. Donald Trump announced that he is running for president. Why? Because he's rich and he can. Um, the crazy thing is he did this long, verbose, long-winded campaign announcement where he, basically stated that I'm running for president and you guys can just deal with it because I'm so filthy freaking rich. Anyway, and but the funny thing is that he paid people, and one of the tabloid magazines actually got a. There we go. They actually got a copy of the ad that was placed in the paper. Um, Calling for actors who got paid $50 each for 3 hours worth of work to wear Trump 2016 t-shirts apparently and be, enthusiastic and cheer for the Donald with whatever he said. So he basically stuffed the audience. Sad part is, they got a couple of people who they had a couple of people who showed up instead of wearing the Trump 316 shirts, they were wearing Legion of Doom arm pads, face paint, and post-apocalyptic clothing. And they thought they were going to go see a Mad Max movie about a desolate wasteland, which I have a feeling that's exactly what the country would become if Donald Trump was elected president. Last week we mentioned the fact that the Arizona Cardinals St. Louis Cardinals. Arizona Cardinals is football. St. Louis Cardinals is baseball. Why can't they just assign one animal to a fucking state for all sports? Anyway, the St. Louis Cardinals are under investigation from the FBI for hacking into the Astros, I think it was, hacking into their web servers over there and learning secrets. Why can't we just play the game? I mean, what secrets are you going to learn? The famous hey, bada swing thing? How many times you have to say hey, bada swing? And I want a pitcher, not an underwear snitcher? Really? Do we really need to be talking about this? And if you hack in, do you really, I mean, you knew the passwords. You had somebody that knew the passwords. It's not really a hack. Also, recent legislature got passed where they're going to put a woman on the $10 bill. They're going to put a female on the $10 bill. Yeah, of course it's and a lot of people are saying, well, we need to put Oprah Winfrey on the $10 bill. A lot of people are saying we need to put Harriet Tubman, Hillary Clinton, whatever on the $10 bill there. And I agree with it. We need a female on there on some form of currency. They had the Susan B. Anthony dollar, the Sacagawea dollar, and they weren't really well known. They really wasn't too too prominent. I mean, next thing you know, at least it's not Anita Sarkeesian wanting to be put on the damn fucking bill. Oh Lord, that's coming. Anita Sarkeesian and her feminism ass, and she's really going to be wanting to be put on there now. And you ever notice it's the $10 bill? Women always want to be a 10. We can't have a woman as a 1 or a 5. No, she's just got to be a 10. Men don't want to get a woman on a 5 anyway. They want to be able to pull out and see she's a 10. Now, for you people listening to the audio version of this, you're about to hear something that was I recorded. Now, it's not going to make sense in audio form, and I do realize that. So I do want to apologize here for the next few moments. It has been raining here in Virginia so hard every single night for the last 2 weeks. We've been getting a huge thunderstorm, wind, rain, everything. One of the branches on one of my trees fell. This big, huge. It had to have been at least 8 foot long. I had to drag it down the hill into the woods behind my house, and it's made it to where my grass right now is about ankle high because I cannot mow the grass because during the day, yeah, the lawn gets dried out to where I can mow it. But in the evening times when I'm working, here comes another rainstorm that pretty much saturates the ground all night. And to where when you get up the next morning, you can't mow the lawn because the grass and the ground are too wet for the riding lawnmower. See, it's crazy and nuts. But this is what my backyard looked like and sounded like just last night, right before I filmed the interview with Phil Stamper. I'm going to try to film this. I don't know how well it's going to turn out. Probably not very well. Let me go ahead and drop the headset here. Sorry if my voice just got louder, but here we go. I'm going to try to show you something. See if I can get this microphone to go around. I know that you're just seeing a blank Mario thing here, but I'm going to show you what my backyard has become here. Let's see if it'll... the ceiling! Sorry if this makes you motion sick. Come on. Okay, over here, I'll just cover the... There we go. Probably ain't going to reach that far, but... See if we can get it to go over here. This is what my backyard has become. Every single day for the last week, it has flooded like this. Look at that. And the kicker is that if you look over here, if I didn't have those pile of leaves over there, the other room in the basement would be flooded. This is how much this yard floods when it rains. There's a drainage ditch back over there. If you see all that red water or brown water rushing, that's the drainage ditch / creek that's in the backyard. And as you can see, it's spilling off into the woods over there. That's crazy. Look at that thing. I don't know how well you can see this, guys. This is nuts. I have not been able to mow my lawn in about... It's going on 2 weeks. And the sad part is this is going to happen every day. You hear thunder there? Sorry about the whirring in the background. That's my air conditioning vent, but I have a damn good backyard. The thing is, I can't never use it in the evenings. Never mind having a barbecue out here. That's why I got a brand new grill, an electric outdoor grill that I just bought. Can't use it. It's fucking flooded every day. It's dying down now, it looks like, but look at that. Look at that drainage over there. Joe takes his webcam outdoors. Film at 11. We're getting ready to interview Phenom Phil Stamper. Golly, that water just rushing up is crazy over there. I might go out there and take a look at it real quick. But anyway, as we pan back over here, I'm going to cover this up. Alright, here we go. Hold on. know I suck. Anyway, that was a peek outside. We're getting ready to interview Phenom Phil. When we come back, we're going to ask him a little bit about Doctor Who, as he is the one that actually got me into the series. We're going to talk some wrestling, including CZW and AIWF, Mid-Atlantic. We're going to talk a number of things. He's a wrestler that I could talk geek to, so it's pretty cool. We'll be back right after this. Stay with us, folks. The following is a live reaction to Sony's Final Fantasy VII Remake announcement. The following footage was taken from some fans watching the press conference in a movie theater.
Not exactly the remake we asked for, but still cute.
Now that adorable world of Final Fantasy will be released exclusively on PlayStation and PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Vita in 2016. Now many years ago, Square Enix released a groundbreaking title that went on to become one of the most beloved games in PlayStation and video game history.
Wait! Hold on!
Tonight,
Wait!
I am proud to announce that by popular demand, we have a very special treat for everyone.
Fool me once, shame on you!
Long ago, we looked upon a foreboding sky. The memory of the star that threatened all burns eternal in our hearts.
Holy shit! Holy shit! I'm gonna die!
Perhaps there is no more.
Holy shit! I'm very happy right now!
But after the long calm, there are now the beginnings of a stir.
I think it's a sequel.
The reunion at hand may bring joy,
I think it's a sequel.
may bring fear, but let us embrace whatever it brings.
Stamper ROH! I'm coming for you!
We're proud to announce that Final Fantasy VII Remake is coming first to PlayStation 4.
And 1640 PWPR, Facebook.com/1640 PWPR. We are joined right now by the one, the only. He's been a friend of the show for quite a while. Golly, it's been almost 10 years since you started doing our show. Me and Rick, I don't know if you remember Rick, but we were talking a couple of nights ago how it's been 10 years since I started this little audio show. And you used to be on with us every week. And now it's like we kind of got out of it for a bit, and then I picked you up. I met back up with you again when you were wrestling for AIWF Mid-Atlantic, but we'll get into all that there. He says he has a bit of a news for us, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on the New Surge Live line, the one, the only. Is it Phenom Phil Stamper or is it Nate Stein? I'm not sure which to call you today.
I don't know which one do you want to have.
I want to have both on. I want the whole Phenom Phil / Nate Stamper deal or no deal experience here.
Hey, not a problem. I'm willing to give it if you're willing to take it.
That's what she said. Anyway.
I was waiting for that. I was waiting.
Well, I mean, it would be awkward if I just transitioned and didn't say that, you know?
Right.
But anyway, when you used to come on our show back in the day, you were Nate Stein and Phil Stamper, so there really was no differentiating between the two. You were always yourself. So that's what I would like this to be. How are you? How have you been? I read on Facebook recently you've had surgery again. What's going on this time?
I had surgery on my stomach. They had found a hiatal hernia. There was a random fatty mass, non-cancerous, but and there's some other problems going on. I've had stomach and digestive problems for a very long time. Actually, in a very odd way, it's what actually got me into finally getting trained to do wrestling. That's a whole other random conversation. But yeah, so this surgery should help alleviate some of the pressure, but won't fix all of the problem. And so far, it has. I'm very sore from the surgery, but I'm already feeling better, like when I eat.
That's good. I'm glad that you're feeling better at least. Was it just a one-day outpatient surgery? Were you in the hospital for a while?
Just one day. It's laparoscopic, so went in with lasers and took care of it.
That's good. I'm glad that you're all healed up, man. Because I know that a couple of years back you were put up with a knee injury for quite a while, almost a year you were out. And now this, I mean, is this going to put you out of any ring time at all?
For about the next month, it will. Fortunately, and one of these things too, like this wasn't like a life-threatening, oh my gosh, you need to have this second surgery. Was I knew there was going to be downtime involved, and it just so happened last weekend I was able to take off of the booking. That was the only sucky part, was to lose the booking last week. I was going to debut for Phoenix Pro in Altoona, Pennsylvania. But then the next 2 weeks, I'm pretty much doing more a talking head role. I'm the general manager at Grand Slam Wrestling in Music, Pennsylvania, and then I'm hosting the Extreme Content Deal or No Deal event for Additive Mid-Atlantic.
I saw that, and my girlfriend Tammy, who you've met coming to the show, she wants to come. She's not really too fond of wrestling. Like the very first time I went to took her to wrestling, it was at a fan festival in Roanoke, Virginia. It was a show that needed a building, or excuse me, a building that needed a show instead of a show that needed a building. Maybe 20 people in the audience, and they were all. I mean, you've been to shows in the South, you know, it's like dueling banjos, some crowds, and she feels out of place. You know, she feels like she doesn't belong there, but when she comes to AIWF, it's kind of like the same crowd, but she knows you and knows your character and knows that I'm friends with you and sees me talk to you, you know, during intermission and sometimes and after the show. So she's kind of gotten accustomed to it. And when she saw the Deal or No Deal thing, she's a fan of Deal or No Deal anyway, you know, so she's like, I want to go to that. I want to see what Phil does with it. So
Okay, well, cool.
I'm hoping to go. I'm really hoping to go. It all depends on, of course, how bills pan out and everything, but I really hope to be there. I mean, what is it like it says that people must pick a briefcase with a stipulation. Is that how it's working?
Yeah, so inside, I'll have for every match, there will be 3 briefcases, and inside inside of each briefcase is a stipulation for the match, and yes, they get to pick a briefcase, and whatever is inside is the match for the evening.
Nice. I know you can't see my screen because you're on the phone, but I do have a picture of you here, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this. I know this is old news. You were in a movie called Ninjas vs. Zombies, because I'm sitting here, I got your IMDb page. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that movie because I watched the trailer for it. This movie, yeah, feels like sure. Why do you want to talk about old news? My question is that are there plans by these guys to do anything else with the advent of Kickstarter and everything else? Because people got to realize when this Ninja versus Monsters was going on, you didn't have Kickstarter. You really didn't have crowdfunding for that. It was almost all out of pocket, correct?
Well, since the initial Ninjas vs. Zombies, they've made two additional films. They've made Ninjas vs. Vampires and Ninjas vs. Monsters.
Okay.
There was crowdfunding. So Vampires got some funding, and I can't remember how much. And then Monsters got, I want to say roughly in total about $16,000 in
nice.
crowdfunding.
Okay.
So they did get some support through that as well as, and of course people just donating money and the director's own funds as well. Ninjas versus Monsters just got picked up for distribution a couple of months ago.
Very cool.
But I think I know the director's sort of done with the Ninjas versus universe.
Right.
He is about to release, and I don't have a date, a Star Trek documentary. He's a huge Star Trek nerd. He's the host of another podcast called Trek Off. So he's doing Trek Off, the podcast, the movie. And it is a total documentary. I'm in that, so you'll see me in there. And we go to Comic-Cons. It was right when the second Star Trek movie came out, Star Trek Into Darkness. So it goes through a lot of that fandom and what is that like and the experiences for some of that people and what does Star Trek mean. I even got to see, and this was just very coincidentally timed, because he didn't plan this documentary around anything in particular. It was just sort of, I want to capture Star Trek fandom. A group of fans in Northern Virginia, where he is from, put on a Star Trek musical.
Wow, that's crazy to do a musical from Star Trek?
Yeah. And it was sort of a combination of different episodes, and I wish I could remember which one. And it was hilarious. And I remember, like, even one of the lead actor who played Captain Kirk, like, the original Captain Kirk quit, like, 2 weeks before the show went up. So, like, this guy had to learn everything 2 weeks.
Wow.
2 weeks to the lines and all the music and everything.
Well, as an understudy, I mean, is this like the understudy? Because as an understudy, you're supposed to be doing all that anyway, correct?
Well, all right. It was a very independent musical. So,
no understudies.
right.
Oh man, that's great. That's great. I'm looking on your IMDb page because you direct people from your Facebook page to check that out.
Uh-huh.
What is ZCon? I'm reading the premises for it. I'm not really too much. I think the whole zombie thing is played out in our society nowadays. You know, The Walking Dead pretty much killed it. And every movie that's followed afterwards from, you know, with zombies in it has pretty much killed that fandom off for me. But this kind of looks interesting. Can you tell us a little bit about ZCon and when it may be coming out? What's the status of it?
Sure. So ZCon, the premise of it is a zombie outbreak happens at a Comic-Con. That is the basic level of the premise, and hilarity ensues. And so the guy who's directing this movie, Michael Dougherty, is he has had great success with crowdfunding, as you referenced before. He created a fan film and got the permission. I mean, from like 21st Century Fox, if you think about that, Fox actually said yes to something, to create a Firefly fan film. 100% of the proceeds, and he made about $225,000. 100% of the proceeds went to charity.
Nice.
And his film company is called Big Damn Films, and they are a nonprofit entity, and all of the profits go to charity. And he was so adamant about it and so passionate about it that he wanted to make clear, like, when he was trying to market the movie and get people to buy it, like, he flew without the money from the movie, he flew, like, on his own dime to, like, go to San Diego Comic-Con and all these other Comic-Cons to sell the movie to try to raise more money for charity.
That right there is kind of admirable. You don't see that a whole lot with people who do crowdfunding nowadays. It's like, give me more, and you'll get this perk. But you never see people going, hey, you know, we're going to give this to charity, so every dime you spend on this goes to charity, you know?
Right. Now, the ZCon is a little stalled. So also what is happening in the world of crowdfunding, and I have seen this myself just from other experiences, that there are people who are, I'm a social media marketer. I have a history of crowdsourcing campaigns. I'm like a crowdsourcing campaign manager. I will come work for you. I will come do this for you. And I don't want to get too much into detail because there is a lawsuit involved, and I don't know all of the details, not from firsthand experience. But basically, they seemingly got fleeced by somebody who had legitimate experience, and that's the thing that sort of threw everybody off was this wasn't somebody who like pulled I'm a prince from Nigeria, pay me money. This was somebody who actually had experience in crowdfunding, experience in entertainment, and then seemingly might have defrauded them. So there is some legal proceeding, and because of that, like she basically had said, and I have to use alleged a lot because I'm not the first-hand person. Allegedly, she had said that she had garnered all this money through social media and campaigning and crowdsourcing, and even some like, I had a fundraising event for you in New York City, and said she raised X amount of money, so they then allocated X amount of money as they filmed, and then when it came down to like, okay, we really need it, she was like, oh, my husband died.
Oh, no. Come on. Really?
And at first they're like, oh, wow, oh my gosh. Well, then from there, it seemingly got more shady, and they realized, wow, this isn't, she's not legit, and things went really bad. But they had already spent the money thinking that she was coming in with it. Or they'd spent the money they'd already allocated for other stuff thinking she was coming in with this money. So they had to stop filming. So they have about a third of the film left to shoot. The three principal actors, though, are teenagers. So
they're growing up.
Right, two of them are in high school, so they can't really do a film shoot during the school year that well. So there is a plan to move forward again, but so there isn't a definitive timeline because they had to sort of recoup their losses and try to figure out things, and there still isn't a resolution to the court case.
That is crazy, man. I mean, you're seeing a lot of that with video games nowadays. I know you're not a real big gamer. I do know that you play some video games, but I mean, you see so many Kickstarters nowadays. Like the I don't know if you're familiar with Castlevania. The guy who originally invented Castlevania went on, Konami was like, we don't want to make a Castlevania game again. Well, this guy's like, screw you, I'm going to go start my own Kickstarter project. And he got the funding for it. So he's making his own Castlevania-style game. The same thing happened with the guy who made Mega Man. But then there are some shady characters out there who get on Kickstarter and GoFundMe and all that, who release levels of a game and make a game only to sit there and collect all the money they need and then skip town, it seems, with the money. And...
Right.
Matt Hardy came out with a tongue-in-cheek but real video a couple of months back talking about, hey, there's Kickstarters out there, and the whole Kickstarting thing has just gotten way out of control.
Right. And I do see that too. And I'll be honest, I have given to Indiegogo and Kickstarter campaigns myself. But I pick and choose. I don't go like, oh, well, somebody needs money, because I do not have that kind of money. But I do have to be select and go, okay, what is it about this project that it will be successful, or is it already successful? Like, where is it at in its percentage range of receiving funding? And honestly, what is the perk of doing this?
Yeah.
Do I at least get a copy of the movie? And honestly, that's what I'm. If I'm going to go to the store anyway and buy a DVD of a movie for $20, or I can support somebody's project that I seemingly like and pay $20 for a DVD when it gets made. Like, okay, I'll do that. So it does depend on what the project is. But yeah, I've seen some really bad things out there, and I can't remember his name. He's a German director who very recently went off on his fan base. He had tried an unsuccessful, and I'm going to probably mess up the order. I think he went to Kickstarter first and did not receive the funding he wanted. Well, then he goes to Indiegogo and did not receive the funding he wanted. And so he cuts a promo, basically a promo. He puts up a YouTube video online and goes off on his fan base. Like,
that's a real way to get your project funded.
Right. How dare you not fund it? It's a great project. Well, I guess if you don't want it, you'll never see it. Well, not only did he do that, but then he went after Indiegogo and Kickstarter, because they also get a percentage of those funds as well. So, of course, the folks at Indiegogo and Kickstarter are probably like encouraging, like, hey, you can do this. We'll give you some tools to do this. Of course, you can be successful. Set some goals for yourself. This is how you can reach some of those goals. These are tips and tools, and maybe you can make it happen. So he said, seemingly he's saying he did all that. He didn't get his money, and so he's almost blaming Kickstarter and Indiegogo for you gave me false hope. You gave me this belief that I would be able to make all this money, and look at it's not real. And you know, he went sort of ballistic on them for that. And I can see to a degree where he's coming from. At the same time, yes, he's a movie director, and I wish I've had that much success in the film stuff I've done. At the same time, like, then you know there's pitfalls, and you knew that there was this risk, and you seemingly, and this is something I've taught before, if a project goes completely up on Kickstarter and goes, we are 100% depending on the support from our fan base, but I am not I'm not a Veronica Mars. I'm not something that was highly marketable, highly for sale, highly viewable with high numbers for ratings. That's a really hard sell.
Yeah.
Those who go in like, I've already received $30,000 worth of funding. I just need the last $10,000. Okay, so you're not depending on this to make your movie. You're trying to make this a better movie, or you are maybe you are depending, but here's the perks, and like you're guaranteeing you're still going to do this.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like you're starting from. Most people aren't starting from scratch who do this thing. Like I know that at E3 this past weekend, Sony held their big press conference for their PlayStation platform. And they had a guy there who made the video game called Shenmue, which was a very popular video game on the Sega Dreamcast. And then Xbox picked it up and put Shenmue 2 on the Xbox. And since then, it's been well over 10 years, people have been wanting Shenmue 3. So Sony, and this shows you how far crowdfunding has become and how mainstream it's gotten, Sony has the director come up on stage at their E3 conference in front of about 10,000 people and go, we're here today to announce that Shenmue will get made if you go to this Kickstarter. And they played a big countdown, 3, 2, 1, and they're like, oh, the Kickstarter is now live, go here. And by the end of the Sony press conference, and you talk about having to have a fan base first, it had already raised $70,000. But it's gotten to the point now where video game companies and maybe even movie companies are going to start doing this as well. Going, hey, if you want something made bad enough, you're going to pay us to make it for you because we're going to make the money. We're going to make 2 times that when it goes into the theaters anyway.
Right.
But
and I do think that has helped. Like, what was it? Didn't Super Troopers 2 isn't that coming because they did their they showed this shit. Hey, look, we got all this crowdfunding. Now that has also backfired on some film. There was and now in the day, I'm talking early '80s, and for those of you who've heard New Search Live before, I'm a huge Doctor Who nerd.
Yep.
And I'm very willing to accept that. In the early '80s, Tom Baker is one of the most popular actors ever played the character of the Doctor. Goes on the news and says if everybody who would be interested in a Doctor Who movie gave the BBC $1, it would show them the level of support. I want to say they got a significant amount of money. I can't remember off the top of my head. I want to say it was 1.4 million, but I don't want to be quoted on that. They got something very significant. And the BBC gave all the money back. They're like, we get it. Doctor Who's popular. We're not going towards a movie. Like, we're an active television series. And that's been part of the problem. There have been 2 very ambitious Star Trek projects that have tried to show, hey, we can make a current Star Trek, mini movie with all the actors from Star Trek, and we can market it and people will buy it.
It doesn't have to go on a mainstream network anymore with the advent of Netflix. I've said for many, many weeks now that, and me and another guy on our network were doing a podcast recently where we were talking about TNA, and this was the day that Ring of Honor hit Destination, or was announced to be on Destination America, and everybody, including myself, was like, all right, that put the nail in the coffin for TNA, and I was like, well, maybe it didn't, and an idea hit me just when I said that. I was like, what if TNA taped a week's worth of, or a month's worth of series and then put it on Netflix? You had pro wrestling on Netflix. I'm
Right.
wondering why they're, speaking of Star Trek, I've been wondering for the last at least 5 or 6 years why there's not an active Star Trek series on TV right now. Enterprise was the last one, and now that these new movies are coming out, there is a demand for it.
So and I kind of forget the order of how everything happened with Paramount and Viacom. Some of this I know. So Paramount basically split the two entities. Paramount controlled the movies of Star Trek, and CBS controlled the TV shows of Star Trek. They've been pitched nonstop, really, since Star Trek went off the air with Star Trek Enterprise, and even before then, for a different series and a new series. And there was a sense of franchise fatigue, which I can see, which sort of, even as you can see with Enterprise, there was this thought of, what if we go back? What if we go back into the history of the show instead of moving forward? For the TV show, that didn't work, and what they sort of learned from those lessons, they moved forward and implemented it on the TV show, or excuse me, on the new movie reboot, which aren't really a reboot. It's actually for the really super huge Star Trek nerds, which I am one of, so I'm not calling anybody out. They really did this whole timeline and built it around this concept of, well, it could link to the old stuff. It's because everything that happened, like old stuff goes back in time, like that was a whole other timeline. So it does link to then the new movies, even though it's the old characters. Now that I have confused everybody because I just talked about time and space, so I think that's part of it. And plus, CBS, my favorite of the Star Trek shows, to be honest, I mean, I love all of them. My favorite was Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, mine too.
To this day, if you try to buy a DVD of the season or a Blu-ray of the season, they are ridiculously expensive.
Oh, yeah.
So there is also this sense of, wow, we need to hoard this money a little bit. And then if you're spending out money to build a show, you kind of want something in return. And I don't understand completely, how does Netflix raise its money? Yes, of course, from its subscriber base, but then they just have money to make money. Like Daredevil, to me, I think was a great series.
It was awesome.
Right. And I get that, now, well, Disney has money to spend. Disney, who owns Marvel, has money to spend. Yeah. Netflix has some money to throw around to get it on the right to show it, but there's not commercials. They're not selling ads. So it's sort of like, what else are they doing to leverage the cost away? Or is it just that, well, wow, we've been able to make so much money off this franchise already, we can just continue to build and build and build and build. So I really don't know. I don't think it was the Weinsteins. I can't remember who made Marco Polo for Netflix. But same kind of deal, like Netflix paid them to make, or after they made it, Netflix paid them to be able to show it. Well, where's the money coming in? Is it going to be off the DVD sales of the show? But I don't know that answer. I get a little bit confused on how they make money off of it.
Yeah, and I've always wondered that too. Without raising, subscription prices have not raised all that much since Netflix first began. 10 years ago. I mean, they were doing DVD only, and they were paying postage on those. So I'm just like, how are they making any? They're making money off my subscription for DVDs, but they got to be spending twice as much in postage. Because I mean, but I understand that with the series, if you try to put wrestling or something like that on there, TNA is going to need money to produce the show. And it's not like Netflix is a regular network where they're going to say, here's $20,000 an episode or whatever, go out and produce it. And, I've always wondered how like what you're saying, how does Netflix have this money? Do they really have that many subscribers, I mean, that they're willing to throw money away like this? I mean, how are they not playing ads right now like what Hulu is?
And it's very possible that they do, because, all right, in a smaller example, and this is, I don't know how many subscribers Netflix has. I can imagine it's probably in the double-figure millions of people. Mm-hmm. But I could be wrong. The WWE Network, so let's look at this just as a smaller element. They have about 1.4 million people who pay the $10, $9.99 a month. And the perk that they try to sell you on is, well, instead of paying the $50 you were buying a pay-per-view for a month, pay us $10 a month, and look, and you get all of our content and the pay-per-view for the month. And now they're doing things that are really good, like network-only specials, like Elimination Chamber, not only everything NXT, but also NXT special pay-per-view events, which I think is a very smart thing, and that way it's exclusive to the network. Well, if you looked at the buy rates for last year's like Elimination Chamber, let's say at best, they were getting 200,000 people to buy it. Okay, 200,000 people buying it for $50. That's $1 million. Okay, great. If you have 1.4 million people paying $10, okay, $9.99 a month, that's $1.4 million. You are making profit.
Yeah.
So it took them a year to build it. Everybody freaked out.
They cut cost. They cut cost everywhere they could cut cost to make it happen. Look how thin their roster is right now.
Right. Well, I don't know about that. I think they don't. Well, I have a whole other argument about that because I don't think they leverage the current roster they have well enough.
No, they don't.
Right. But I do think that it's interesting that they are doing such the great work that they are doing with NXT. I think it's really odd and interesting to me that Kevin Owens has suddenly become this instantaneous standout.
I want to ask you about him, but Kip, please, this is why I love having you on, because as I said in the preview for this video here, because I did a lead-in video, I could talk geek with you. I could talk so much fandoms with you, and it bounce around. But please finish, please.
I mean, that's just it. Like, they are building stars, and they are building some people the right way, but then other people they don't. And I remember, I don't want to be misquoted on who it was who said it, but somebody who was released from WWE within the last couple of years. I know he was on the Cabana podcast, and he makes a comment that all of them thought that Zack Ryder was really going to be built up to be like this bigger guy in WWE because he sort of made himself. Like, he was a guy, let's face it, who was probably going to be fired, and he helped WWE to realize there was that market for social media.
But but the thing is that that was also his downfall, because WWE didn't get the chance to make him how they wanted to make him, and they saw that as a kind of a double-edged sword, I reckon. Like, hey, it's good that you're doing this. You opened our eyes to social media, but at the same time, don't try to go into business for yourself while you're under contract with us.
Right. Which is interesting because there are some people doing some of their own projects now. I feel really bad because I can't remember his name in New Day.
If you're talking about that video game channel that Xavier Woods is doing, it has come out. It has come out in the recent days that is all WWE produced.
Really? Okay, then never mind. Never mind.
That is all that's all gimmicked. But I understand your and I said this, I've been saying this for months, and nobody will really listen to me. Maybe you will. Is that Owens kind of stands out for me because Owens is kind of a rare case. Because every WWE superstar from this era of NXT, I know that Seth Rollins was the first NXT champion, but since they've been on the network and since they've, been at Full Sail and all this, every superstar from Bo Dallas all the way up to now Adrian Neville, they are white hot down there in NXT. I mean, white hot. Look at the Ascension. They went on a year tirade with their tag team titles. The crowd was behind them. They were 100% baby faces. And it's like Triple H goes down there and he molds these guys and creates these guys. And, he has people like the late Dusty Rhodes down there helping him, which blows my mind that he's gone. But anyway, but Triple H knows how the business is evolving. He knows how the independent scene is evolving. He knows how to cater to those fans down there. And granted, the NXT fans are kind of like what TNA was with the Impact Zone, and that it's the same people showing up to the same taping. They're all smart fans, whatever. But it seems like Vince McMahon has it in his head that I'm going to show you, pal, how to really book these guys, ha ha ha. And so as soon as you get this white hot piece of talent up there, up to the main roster. Vince has to totally screw it up, start from scratch, and bury these guys. That's why I've said for about a year now that if I'm a superstar down there in NXT and I'm on TV every week like a Tyler Breeze or, like a Sasha Banks or Charlotte or Bailey, who I absolutely love and adore, I'm begging not to be brung up to the main roster. If they came up to me tomorrow and asked me, hey, do you want to go to Raw? I'm going to chicken shit out and just tell them, no, I think I'll need a little bit more seasoning down here first. I'm not sure if I'm ready. Because as long as the old crazy Grandpa Vince is up there booking, they don't stand a chance up there.
Which I'm mixed on that. I really am. And, I mean, well, with the thought of Kevin Owens, I know there's also a rumor. And when I say this, I have also found WWE is also its own best rumor mill. So
oh, yeah.
a lot of things that are in the ether and on social media that, we've heard this little whispering of something. I know they generate themselves, but I don't, but who knows? And it could have just been somebody one day on a podcast said, oh, this thing was said, and who knows if it was really true. So I knew that there was the rumor that in Kevin Owens' contract that if he wasn't on the main roster in a year, he's gone. Well, so if you think about it from a business standpoint, so we're going to pay somebody X amount of dollars, and we're going to be out X amount of dollars if in a year we don't develop him to be the guy we need him to be. If that's true, and I'm not saying it is, but it's weird. It's just weird to me.
How does that happen?
Right. And in a way, I almost think some of the people who have come up, like Adrian Neville, like Sami Zayn, like Kevin Owens, and I know Sami was only there for the one match with Cena, as they came up, I really think that there was almost this anticipation they're not going to succeed in front of this crowd.
Yeah, it was the CM Punk syndrome.
Right. And I hate to say it, but I love the Lucha Dragons to death.
Oh,
I don't think they're being utilized the right way. The Ascension, oh my God, well, they were much different in NXT as well. They've not done well. Byron Saxton, I'm glad now he's on the three-man team on Raw, because when he was on Raw by himself, and even when Lawler came out with him, he was the worst.
Oh, he was the drizzling shits. Let's be honest.
Right. And I hate to say that, and I'm not trying to bash him, but it was just what happened? Was it because it was the main stage? Was he, did he oversell what he was supposed to do? I don't know. And it's very interesting to see, and it's always been interesting to see who makes it and who doesn't. And I remember this, if you think about it in this perspective, and I'm mixing sort of comments from other people too, so this is not a solely Phil-based...
Right.
This is not a solely Phil Stamper-based comment, but the Honky Tonk Man. Not only did he have the longest Intercontinental title run in history, not only did he have, or the first longest run, I guess, not only is he the Honky Tonk Man, and, he's been on independent wrestling shows ever since he left WWE, you know who the Honky Tonk Man is, because he will always be the Honky Tonk Man.
Yeah.
I remember when Fandango came out, there was this sort of comment by, I think, either Colt Cabana or somebody on the podcast about, wow, it would have been great to have that gimmick, because that's a gimmick that can sell for the rest of your life. And when you're done with your time in WWE, you could always have that gimmick.
That gimmick was about 3 years too late, too, because Dancing with the Stars is no longer as popular as it was.
Right. But if you look at Fandango now, he's not that same guy he was 2 years ago. So it's already he's sort of getting the burn off of that, the gimmick is done to a degree.
Well, look at Adam Rose even. This is a more recent example. Adam Rose with the whole deal. The evolution of that character to me was okay, they had the music, the original music that he had in NXT, they didn't get the rights to, so they had to change to this crappy, wasn't one of the best themes ever. I love Jim Johnson to death, but it's just not the best. And now ESPN airs the E60 special. and they show him evolving from Leo Kruger, and now it's like the fans want Leo Kruger. He's even taken to Twitter going, "Hey, Adam Rose might be going away, and Leo might be coming back."
Right. And I do know somebody, and I don't want to out them, because they tried to lie on Facebook and say that the WWE booked him for a week, and then he decided that WWE wasn't worth his time. In reality, he was booked to be a Rosebud for a week, and then when they decided to go the different way with the gimmick and they weren't going to bring in all the Rosebuds anymore, he got dropped.
Wow.
And yeah, so I'm not focused on him, but you know, they were changing it, and I think they were also, I've heard a mixed message about why they were changing it, that there might have been a little bit of, there were too many indie people now getting that rub of like, hey, we got booked to be a Rosebud, like.
I had Casey Carlisle on 2 weeks ago, and she was one of them. The primary of our conversation was what it was like backstage, you know, when you're in an extras role in WWE. I was kind of fascinated by it. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, there was a lot of people coming in from the indie scene, and when the buzz on Facebook is, oh, look, it's Casey Carlisle, or oh, look, it's Caleb Connolly, or oh, look, it's this person, it's that person. When more people, and this shows you how big indie wrestling has gotten over the last few years, when more people are pointing out them instead of paying attention to Adam Rose, if I'm Vince McMahon, I'd be worried by that too.
Right. And I think what you just said is a very good tell of why I think, you know, Leo Kruger into Adam Rose, why Fandango, why a lot of characters and gimmicks aren't working, is because the WWE really did miss the boat on a lot of the social media. So what has happened is NXT really did take a good number of the quote-unquote indie darlings, for lack of a better phrase. And I'm not using that as a derogatory term, because I've heard it used as a derogatory term. I mean it actually in a good sense. And at first, when Sami Zayn got picked up and made the mistake about that guy who's now retired in Tijuana, when Sami Zayn got picked up, there was sort of this comment of like, oh, that's weird. Well, they'll never do anything with him. Oh, he's just there because they need good hands who can work with the football players and the models they're bringing in.
Yeah, honestly, that was my first thought. But then you look at a guy like,
now that roster is so full of great talent. It's amazing talent. And it will always be for everybody ever. Because I'm sure John Cena himself is probably sitting there. Oh, he has. Now I think about it. John Cena has gone, but wait a minute. I wish I was different in this way. I wish my gimmick was different in this way. I wish I was allowed to go heel. That would open up me as a guy in so many different ways. He has said that, and he's the guy who's been on top of the WWE for the last 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, he had new gear ready to go and everything, but then again, a lot of people, including, to a certain extent, it's like, oh, you're just WWE's lapdog. You're willing to do whatever they tell you to, and, you know, most people are company men. If I was in that position, I'm not a John Cena fan by any means, but if I was in that position, I'd probably be a company guy and toe the line where they told me to toe it at, too. But, you know...
Okay, well, two things off that. The first is, the WWE is a television product. The stars of that television show are the McMahons. Everybody else is a supporting character, and they have a particular role that they play on that cast.
Absolutely.
But also, in a real-life comparison, and please, I would ask, because I think you know, but don't hit towards the kind of profession I'm in outside of the world of wrestling.
I won't.
Realistically, I'm dealing with a situation where I've been asked to look at a reorganization of my department where I work, and I'm basically being told what's going to happen. And every time I offer input or advice or show statistics to show whatever, I'm shut down. So at the end of the day, I'm doing what my boss is telling me to do. And it's not because I sold out and I don't have a soul and I don't want to, like, if I say no, I'm going to be fired. And do I still have my say? Do I still say, I think this, I think that? Well, yeah. And if my boss has the moment to go, oh, well, okay, I see where you're coming from. And that has happened in a couple of these conversations. Okay, then great. Just like the WWE. And some guys have been able to craft that, but they've also done it, you know, hey, it's a risk. If you go this way, it might not work for you. It might work for you.
I think too that that's the way any normal job works. But in WWE, I have a feeling that if John Cena came to Vince McMahon today and goes, I'm turning heel tomorrow night on Raw, Vince is going to do everything he can to put up a fight about it. But if Cena goes, no, I don't think you understand, Vince. I've made you a lot of money over the years. I can make you 10 times that now. I'm turning heel on Monday night, regardless of what your bullshit writers have to say about it. Vince has no choice, being the cash cow that John Cena is and what the WWE has made him into, to go. Okay, pal, let's turn you heel and see how it goes, because Vince doesn't want to lose John Cena. I mean, John Cena could go down to, TNA or up to TNA now, since they're filming up north primarily, but, what does John Cena have to lose at this point from getting fired? He has, his tenure in that company has made him a made man. Now, granted, people are going to say, how could he do that to Vince? And this is just throwing out theoretics here. It's not really like it's going to happen, but if it were, it's kind of like the whole CM Punk thing. CM Punk's like, I'm leaving. Whether you like it or not, I'm leaving. And Vince saw what a commodity CM Punk was, and he's like, look, you got me over a barrel. If John Cena wanted to put Vince McMahon over a barrel, and if he wanted to go heel bad enough, he could go heel. He may not seem like a model employee for doing it, but he's earned the right to do that. I mean, he's earned the right to, say, hey, I want to change my character if I want to change it. Not everybody in the company, granted, can do that. You'll never see Zack Ryder coming out going, hey, I'm going to be in the main event tonight, whether you like it or not. But if John Cena wanted to, he could, because he has that kind of stroke, and he's made Vince that much money, It's one of those things where Vince McMahon could never stand to lose John Cena. But I see your point too.
Yeah. And that's just it. It's a game. It's always a figuring out even the financial costs involved, because everybody complains about quote unquote the PG era, and things are softer than it was 15 years ago and all that stuff. So that was a very different audience. We were a very different culture, and now mainstream media, what can it really show? And so there are differences. And
we're a more sensitive country.
Right. I mean, because realistically, advertisers were saying, we're pulling our money if you do certain things.
I mean, I'll put it this way. If DX were to go out in the middle of the ring right now and shoot the bazooka full of whatever it was that bazooka back in '98 when they got the whole crowd wet, all it takes is for one person to sit there and go, oh man, the crap that your wrestler squirted got into my eye, and now I'm blind in my right eye, and that's it, Right. And I wouldn't put it past something like that in this day and age to happen. Back then, we would have never thought of taking somebody to court over something stupid like that,
Right.
Going back to Owens, though, I want to get your thoughts on this, because you kind of have me intrigued at, hey, Owens is the only guy from this era of NXT to really go to that extra step and really become the guy, Do you see him facing Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam for the title?
Ooh.
Because I did a video earlier today. They're going to have the rubber match with him and Cena, it looks like, after what he did to Machine Gun Kelly on Monday night. They're going to have the rubber match at Battleground. And to me, if you're going to have that rubber match, Owens has to win it. By hook or by crook, Owens has to win it. Cena can stand to take a loss,
Well, so here is sort of that odd twist. In sort of an older mentality like Vince, I don't know if Cena will lose. And I'll be honest, and I didn't watch NXT this past week. I know they're doing the whole Samoa Joe thing with him. Mm-hmm. There's all this talk about Samoa Joe finally at some point going up to the main roster, even though he has independent dates all the way through like August.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like, well, wait, what story are you telling here? Because it feels sort of like you are telling three stories. So I don't know if they would do it as soon as SummerSlam. I'm gonna say, I'll say that I don't think they'll do it as soon as SummerSlam, because I think they would want to build out either A, if they are going to pull out the title away from Seth Rollins now, okay, then what's going on next? Or B, if they didn't, then SummerSlam will be the match where it happens. So I still think that'll be all wrapped up with Authority and Brock, and there's this whole question of will the Shield get back together by the end of summer. So I think that is all.
I think that, honestly, I did a whole video booking it out earlier today because it popped into my mind earlier today when I saw somebody go, oh, Samoa Joe ain't nothing, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, wait a minute. They're doing this thing with Owens. And I'm like, this is how I would book it. Now, granted, it probably wouldn't get over and people are going to say it's hot-shotting, but I would have Lesnar beat Rollins for the belt at Battleground. I would have Owens go over on Cena. You put the Shield back together in all this aftermath, and there's rumors of the Wyatt family even getting back together. So you got Shield versus Wyatts again, which they never really did that right, in my opinion, the first time and got as much money out of that feud as they could. Cena, you could go off and do whatever you want to with him. It doesn't matter. He's going to draw no matter what. I think that the night after Battleground, you have Lesnar come out with the belt and cut a promo about how I'm back. I never lost this damn thing to begin with. And then you all of a sudden, have Owens come out and go, you know what, we're both prize fighters and I want this prize. But of course, Owens has got to drop the belt on July 4th anyway. But that's neither here nor there. But I mean, I think that it could be done. I think the fans want to see it. Mm-hmm. But anyway, we've gone about 48 minutes here, and let everybody know here where you've been. I just got your Facebook message. You say you got to run. It's all well and good. I understand.
I was trying to be subtle.
Dude, I'm not one of those hosts that are like, oh, man, come on, dude. I know how it is in real life. You got to go. Just tell me. Tell everybody where you're going to be at the next couple of months or next couple of weekends, whatever. I know that you have a Facebook page from the desk of Nate Stein where you post a ton of indie wrestling events. In fact, most of the indie events I found in North Carolina have been thanks to you, so thank you. I found Gibbonsville. I found that Sportatorium, the one that runs out of the quote-unquote Sportatorium in Gibbonsville. I can't remember it either.
CWS.
There you go. They're awesome. I found them. They're going to be hosting Shikara here in, I think, July or August or October, one in the fall, I think. But give everybody your plugs. Let's get them out of the way so we can get you out of here.
Sure. So this coming weekend on the 20th, I'll be at Grand Slam Wrestling in Music, Pennsylvania at the Music Youth Center, gswrestling.com. On the 27th, I'll be at AIWF Mid-Atlantic. Check out AIWF.net. Honestly, they'll have a whole bunch of information about all of AIWF, especially about the events that happen for Mid-Atlantic.
And I'm hoping to be there as well, so if anybody wants to come say hi to me and Phil. Are you going to have a merch table this time?
I will have merch.
Yes, I'm going to buy some Phil merch. I'm sorry, I mark out for Phil. And whoever has not seen Phil work, you're damn good at what you do, my friend. I'm just going to say that, and I'm not saying that to kiss your ass. We've been friends for a while, so I don't need to kiss your ass. But and come out and see this man work, guys. You will not be disappointed. But anyway, continue.
And over the next couple of months, I will be debuting at Phoenix Pro up in the Johnstown, Altoona, Pennsylvania area. UWA Elite in New Jersey has asked me to come up. It's just been a matter of trying to figure out dates. I have my regular bookings, Grand Slam Wrestling, AIWF Mid-Atlantic. Why is my brain going suddenly
What is your relationship like? I know you got to run, but I just wanted to ask, because since you're giving out bookings, what is your relationship like now with CZW?
I am no longer employed with CZW. I am still friendly with DJ Hyde, and even that took a couple months to just get my brain away to be able to have that friendship. And I think DJ would agree with me on that. So, I mean, he'll call me and he'll toss me ideas and what do I think about something. But I am, at this point, not involved in CZW, and I'm not really looking to go back. I will, and I'm glad, thank you for plugging, by the way, from the desk of Nate Stein, and that's on Facebook, at facebook.com/desk of Nate Stein, which got plugged on the Nerdist podcast.
I saw that.
I was shocked, but anyway.
You marked out, don't lie.
Do what?
You marked out. Don't lie.
Oh, I totally did. Well, I was listening to the first thing in the morning, and I box people sometimes on the way into work, and I thought I was like in the middle of a boxer conversation when I heard Phil Stamper, and I'm like, what? And so it was great. It was great. But for two reasons I mentioned from the desk of Nate Stein. The first is the indie calendar. And what's funny is, I try to capture as much independent wrestling as I can and put it on that calendar, and I still miss stuff sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And there's hundreds of events that are going on. And what's interesting is the events sometimes that I miss is just because I just didn't know about them. And I'll get contact from a promoter saying, you didn't put me on your list this time, and my attendance went down.
Wow.
And I'm like, I didn't I didn't realize I was the source of your advertisement. But be okay, let's have this conversation about what you can do to advertise. So people who are out there and talking about independent wrestling and their events, advertise, share your events. If you're a boy in a locker room, you need to make sure that you're putting on your social media
Yeah.
so people know how to find you to plug where you are going to be. Okay, I'm off that soapbox. The other thing I want to say, and then I really do have to run, is there is going to be an announcement in the next week about my involvement in the world of professional wrestling, and it will definitely change something.
Wow. Is that the big announcement you had before we went on air?
Yes.
Sorry we didn't get to that sooner.
I'm having a moment. The only reason I'm not going forward with going like, and it's this, is because I'm that kind of person that, until, money exchange hands and everything's signed and there's a piece of paper in your hand going like, this is yours now, I don't want to say anything.
Will you come back? Will you come back on the show and drop it here?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I will message you. I will hold you to that because I love having you on here.
Well, I appreciate that. I always like being on here. It is something that, when I say it, like, it is big news for wrestling, but it's not something, it's one of these things that is very special to me and a lot of people I know in the world of professional wrestling. It will have an impact on wrestling, but I don't have the finalized what it means yet, so I'm still trying to figure all of that out. But I'm very excited because it's a new stage for me in the world of professional wrestling.
Nice. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Phenom Phil Stamper. I'm going to refer to you as Phil Stamper since you're not working with CZW, but sometimes he works as Nate Stein from the desk of Nate Stein. Check him out on Facebook. Phil, thanks for coming on. I'm sorry that we didn't get more time here, but I understand that you got to run, but I definitely want to have you back in a couple of weeks if we can.
That sounds great. And
ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back. And welcome back, everybody, to New Surge Live. Oh man, you guys got to check out the audio version or the video version of this show if you're listening to the audio version to get what you just heard there. YouTube.com/tons of fun WWE. Also go to newsearchlive.com. There's links for it there. Going to talk a little bit about Ring of Honor here. And last night, right after I interviewed Phil Stamper, I watched the Best in the World pay-per-view. I actually forgot I ordered it. I actually meant to cancel the order, and I was gonna watch it today, but I forgot to cancel. So I'm here talking to you about it. And people are going to say, well, why'd you want to cancel? Well, when I ordered it not knowing how much it was, I didn't even look at the price because I figured, $30 maybe. Nope, when I realized it was $35.99 or I think it was $40 even. I don't know how much it was. I still don't know how much it was, but I knew it was more than $30. And bills come first in this house. But anyway, I got to watch it anyway. Forgot I ordered it, so here we go. Show started off with Donovan Dijak, who is a member of the House of Truth, I believe, versus Mark Briscoe. What do you want, Kat? She's in heat right now. I'm sorry. What? Come here. No? Okay, we'll go on. Dijak has Truth Martini by his side in this match. Truth Martini is the epitome of what a wrestling manager should be, in my opinion. He does it so well. Mark Briscoe went over in this match, which kind of, whenever they do the whole, is that a sign for later in the night? No. Mark Briscoe had ODB in his corner. Nice to see ODB here. ODB looks to have lost a little bit of weight. Not sure how I feel about that. Um, but anyway, it was a nice little opening match. Good to see Mark Briscoe out there. I I enjoy Mark Briscoe. I enjoy Donovan Dijak, who was the winner of the Top Prospect tournament, I believe. Good stuff here. ODB rips up the Book of Truth in half to stun Martini long enough for Mark to come off the apron. With this match had some insane spots in it. Dijak does a flare flip, pops up the top rope, and hits a body press, and then Dijak does his version of the GTS. Mark comes back with a brain buster off the top, and Mark got the win with the froggy bow, and this was awesome here. I really enjoyed the work by both these guys. Hell of a way to kick off the pay-per-view. Then you have BJ Whitmer and Adam Page versus Matt Sydal and ACH. I love the bit that they're doing with Colby Carino here. The nice little tag match here, very good. And it was very, very, very nice to see this. ACH takes out Colby with a dive at the end. Page recovers, hits the fade to black on Sydal for the win. So Whitmer and Page versus Matt Sydal and ACH. It was nice to see Page and Whitmer get the win here. There was a spot here where I think it was this spot with the fade to black. That move is going to end up killing somebody someday. That move is crazy, man. It's just that move is going to end up breaking somebody's neck. We talk about the Styles Clash breaking Yoshitatsu's neck. That move is gonna break somebody's neck someday. Nice to see Sydal, really being able to be himself here. What? Let me see here. This video brought to you by Shadowcat. What? What is it? You want to help me? Huh? Tell everybody. What do you think? What do you think about Ring of Honor? Do you like Ring of Honor? You want to go? All right, go on. Tell them what you think about... Hey. Tell them what you think about Ring of Honor. What do you think about the pay-per-view? She's so not into this. Come here. I'm getting attacked. What is it? We got to talk about Silas Young and Dalton Castle. Okay. She's in heat right now, guys, so if you hear her purring, that's because she's doing her little shuffle bit. Don't do that. You might stop the recording. You can't get up there. Go on. Anyway. What are you doing? I'll sit there and purr and be horny. Anyway. Silas Young versus Dalton Castle. They told a story in this match, man. This match was awesome. I'm a big fan of Dalton Castle. And I'm a big fan of his gimmick. Honestly, he should have won the Top Prospect tournament. And I think that, they're doing a really good job with him. These two, man, it was hard hitting. The crowd goes nuts for Dalton Castle when they see him. He is super over. That gimmick is just freaking awesome. Now, granted, that gimmick would probably never get over for a WWE crowd. But then again, in this day and age, who knows? The CNC Wrestle Factory versus War Machine here. Caprice Coleman and Cedric Alexander. I'm a huge fan of Cedric Alexander. By the way, Dalton Castle won over Silas Young in that match before there. And Silas laid out one of Dalton's young boys out after the match for revenge. Dalton Castle super over. I can't wait to see what they do with him next. Hell of a story told. Caprice Coleman and Cedric Alexander versus War Machine here. Hanson and Rowe. I liked this match. It was short. It was sweet. It was used to carry over an angle from Ring of Honor TV last week. So nice to see the commentators, by the way, mention Destination America. That made me smile here. They had, they're turning Cedric heel. And They made him, Cedric went to go use the wrench again from under the ring. Caprice, didn't want to tag him in so he could use it. So Cedric is like, screw you, and lets them, basically, it basically they hit their finish, call it a day, whatever. After the match, you know, it it's as if Cedric is like, okay, you know what? I'm done. I don't need to be with you anymore. We're over. And Cedric walks off, and Caprice kind of looks stunned at the end of it. So Cedric Alexander is going heel. Going to be nice to see where this goes from here. I think Cedric could be a hell of a heel if he wanted to be, but who knows? It's all up to the Booker man, I guess. Carrying on here, we had the number one contenders finals. Roderick Strong versus Michael Elgin versus Moose. My God, did this match rule? Veda Scott is just fucking amazing. I mean, come on. She's another one proving that managers can really, really get over still in this business. What are you doing, Kat? What are you doing? I'm talking about Roderick Strong versus Michael Elgin versus Moose. Did you like that match? You did? Okay. Can I continue, or are you going to sit here and chirp? What? I hope you guys can hear her. She's being loud, man. Get away from there. That's no. If you turn off my computer, I'm going to shoot you. No, get down. Go away. Hold on. Go away. Thank you. That's what I thought. Anyway. Like the shirt. That shirt's old. But anyway, it's just really strong stuff here from Moose. Really good stuff here from Roderick Strong. Elgin was just there. He really didn't do too much as I would have liked to have seen from Elgin. He did manage to hold Moose up in a vertical suplex for 30 fucking seconds, which, if you've ever seen Moose live, he is a beast. Oh my Lord, he is huge. And he likes Doritos, actually. Anyway, that's the one thing I take away from Moose is I'll never forget I was at a Pro Wrestling Experience PWX show, and this is right around the time when Moose very first, started on the indie scene. Get down! I feel like Scotty in Star Trek. Get down! Get down. Go on. You can't be up here. She keeps crawling behind my monitor here. This match was awesome. It was the best thing on the show. Honestly, I liked this match better than I liked the main event. Just because I already knew what to finish. I already had predicted the finish to the main event. I couldn't predict the finish in this. I thought they were going to give it to Moose. I thought they should have given it to Moose. Moose is just a strong beast. He has the best spear I have ever seen. With that little flip he does after it. Amazing. And Veda Scott is like the Lisa Lampanelli of Ring of Honor. That's all I'm going to say, because it looks like she's going to go with Cedric Alexander now, because Cedric Alexander runs in after the match and lays out Moose and Stokely Hathaway and then smiles at Veda Scott. Veda Scott was already pissed because Moose did the Code of Honor thing and shook hands with Roderick Strong after the match. Roderick Strong did end up winning the match, and he pinned Moose, actually. He was getting ready to do the spear to Veda Scott. That's when Cedric Alexander runs in with the wrench, lays out Moose and Stokely, smiles at Veda and hands her the wrench, and then takes off down the, back down the ramp. Officials running the check on Moose and Stokely Hathaway. So, is Stokely Hathaway going to be going with Moose? And is Veda Scott done with Moose? Is Veda Scott done with Stokely Hathaway? It's the way it looks like. You may see a Cedric Alexander with, Veda Scott versus Moose and, with Stokely Hathaway in his corner. That looks like to be the way they're going here. Adam Cole. Oh my God, here we go. I'm gonna catch some heat for this. Too sweet me. Yeah. Anyway, Madam Cole. Sorry, Adam, I love you. Adam Cole, Mike Bennett, and Matt Taven versus the Bullet Club, consisting of AJ. I don't know why I'm not in a more high-profile match. Styles and the Young Bucks, Bucks. Sorry. This match reminded me of Ring of Honor of yesteryear, 2002. You know, maybe 2003, 2004, around the early stages when everybody thought Ring of Honor was nothing but spot monkey, spot fest wrestling, and that's exactly what this match was. And that's what you get when you put the Young Bucks in anything nowadays. 1998 called, guys. They want their gimmick back. I hope to God that WWE sues you for gimmick infringement, because it's not a parody. It's flat out using the gimmick. It's flat out copyright infringement, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but what do you want? I'm trying to talk about Ring of Honor. Daddy's talking about Ring of Honor. If you want to come talk about Ring of Honor, come here. Where are you going? Here's your tail. But where are you? Anyway, super kick after super kick, spot after spot. I can't remember everything that happened in this match. There was a nice little bit where the Decade or the Kingdom, excuse me, used their super kicks against the Young Bucks. Lots of dives in this match. AJ Styles, the problem, here's the conundrum with AJ Styles. AJ Styles doesn't need to be in a match like this. He's too good for it. The problem is that he's so part-time with Ring of Honor that you can't really put him in anything above this. So and who knows, maybe AJ likes going back to that style every now and then where he could just be the AJ Styles of yesteryear and be a spot monkey for 20-30 minutes. Oh well, the Bullet Club went over here. I don't know why you're putting part-timers over like this. They're not consistently. They're not on your TV every week. But then again, and oh my God, Maria Kanellis got laid the fuck out. Oof. Wow. I mean, that was freaking harsh, dude. It looked so bad. I mean, and people are going to sit there and go, well, it's violence against women. It's, but whatever. The Kingdom after the match seemed kind of shooken up. Bennett carries off, Maria, and everybody's left looking like, what the fuck? How can we lose? We're such losers, blah, blah, blah. What are you doing? Okay, stay down there. Daddy loves you too. Okay. But it was a... if I were to give this match a 1 out of 5 rating, I'd go with 3.5. I mean, it's right there in the middle. You need this match on a Ring of Honor card, kind of, to break things up. It was insane. The finish sequence was good. If you like the bing, bang, boom, flip, flop, and fly gimmick, go ahead. Watch this match. You won't be disappointed. It's just, honestly, if this was back in 2002 and back in 2004 even, I'd be jumping up and down singing praises and busting a nut over this one. But the business has evolved to the point where we really don't need this, kind of thing happening all the time. And it seems like you can't have a Young Bucks match without it. That's their place on the card. If it was me, I would have led the show off with this one. Or even put it lower on the card, in my opinion. But, oh well. Leave your comments. Stop it. That's my Ethernet cord. Oh my God, this cat. Hold on. You're sitting on my computer. No. Tell everybody bye. Go ahead. Nuzzle the camera. There you go. Oh, Lord. Anyway, the match was good. It's should have been. I don't know. Maybe it should have been lower on the card. The Addiction versus Red Dragon. Now, here was a good match. Here was a match that I loved. The Addiction, coming out and basically, the Christopher Daniels ring attire coming out in the general attire, the ring general attire, looking like a dictator, which is badass. And then you had him wearing a new singlet with Venom on it and, paying homage to Spider-Man's Venom. Red Dragon was what it was. They came out. I love O'Reilly and Fish. They are so awesome. Had a little bit of an interference here from Chris Sabin. Kazarian, kicks O'Reilly off the apron and kicks Fish in the ding ding, as it's been known to be called here in Ring of Honor when everybody takes a nut shot. They hit their finish. It was a win. It kept you really. It could have gone either way. I would have been fine with either team winning this match, as they're both awesome. They had a ladder come in this match. Maybe the next match is going to be a ladder match. I don't know. But anyway, it could be a ladder match. It was really good. I really, really, really enjoyed this match. I liked it better than the match that was before it. I liked it better than the other two matches that were before the Bullet Club match. It's Bullet Club and Kingdom match. I really think that match should have been lower on the card. But then again, you have your main event here. After this, Jay Briscoe versus Ring of Honor champion Jay Briscoe defended his title against the reigning and defending ROH TV champion Jay Lethal. The storyline here. This is how you build a storyline in wrestling. I loved the fact that they had both families in attendance. They were on opposite sides of the arena. They had this big fight feel to it. And then you had, the way they built it up and built it up on TV, with Jay Lethal going, that title made you. I made this title, but that title made you. Yours is nowhere near as important as mine is. I made this title important. That Ring of Honor title made you important. You need the 10 pounds of gold to be relevant, basically. I don't need this to be relevant. I made the 10 pounds of gold relevant. It was just so good. They had Nigel Guinness come out. Nigel Guinness kicked out the House of Truth, and he eventually kicked out Truth Martini. Truth Martini, man, does a full costume change to match Jay Lethal's ring gear. All white ring gear, white and black ring gear to match Jay Lethal here. Had shaved his beard from the first match, so Martini comes out clean shaven in a white suit. A white cover on the Book of Truth, because he apparently has, it's the second edition of the Book of Truth, I guess, reprint. But, Martini distracts the ref. Lethal low blows Briscoe. Nigel McGuinness kicks out Truth Martini. Briscoe hits a J Driller through the commentator, or to the timekeeper's cable. Mama and Papa Briscoe, Mama and Papa Lethal, both at ringside, cheering their kids on. Very good stuff here. The finish was absolutely insane. They do a spot. Jay Briscoe goes for the J Driller. Briscoe, all of a sudden, gets maneuvered out of it by Lethal. Lethal hits Jay with a J Driller, so he lays him out with his own move. To the icing on the cake, then, he goes for the Lethal Injection, which is a flip springboard into an RKO. Great match, great moment here with Jay Lethal winning both belts. Both men looked like they had tears in their eyes. Jay Lethal definitely had tears in his eyes. He was openly weeping after winning this match, after having such a good match here. They shake hands afterwards. The crowd chants, "You deserve it," and "Best in the world." Nigel gets back in the ring. He shakes the new champion's hand. The crowd chants, "You deserve it." The best part about this was that Lethal stayed, even though he was emotional, he stayed in gimmick. He stayed in that Ric Flair-esque gimmick by hitting the rope with both belts going, "I'm the best in the world. I'm the best. I proved it. I'm the best in the world, and these two belts prove it. I'm going to elevate these belts." And the crowd started chanting "Best in the world" to him. Damn good pay-per-view. damn good pay-per-view from start to finish. Peaks and valleys, except for the Bullet Club versus Kingdom match, which that's me. To me, that's personal. I felt like the flow of the overall pay-per-view was good. I can't say enough about it. If you haven't watched it, you owe it to yourself to pay the money and get it. I'm glad at the end of it I didn't cancel it, and I went back this morning and just watched it again. It was very, very good. Um, I'm curious to see what they're going to do at the TV taping. Samoa Joe is scheduled to team up with AJ Styles to go up against the Addiction, I believe. Let me check on that here. I believe that's his last match for Ring of Honor as well, as he's going to WWE full time now. Um, Daniels and Kazarian versus Joe and AJ Styles, which is going to be awesome. I would like to see Saban in there with Daniels instead of Kazarian, but it's not TNA anymore. Um, that match is headlining ROH's TV taping, featuring the fallout from Best in the World here. It's all going to be at Terminal 5. Curious to see if that match makes TV or not. Probably won't. Probably will make the DVD. But anyway, that's going to do it for me here, guys. This episode's already probably going to be 2 hours long for this week. It's a long one. I would like to thank Mr. Phil Stamper for coming on, being our guest this week. For those of you who are listening to the audio version, check out the YouTube channel, comment on that YouTube channel, like the video, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Tons of Fun WWE is how you can find me on YouTube. YouTube.com/Tons of Fun WWE. That's TONSOFFUN WWE. For those of you who are watching this, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button down below. Check out newsearchlive.com. And as always, for more podcasts, 1640 PWPR, facebook.com/1640 PWR. My name is Joe White, and we'll see you down the road. Thanks for watching and listening, everybody. I really appreciate it.